Imagine pulling up to your new lakeside home, dreaming of peace, only to have a self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac march onto your property, clipboard in hand, declaring your own water community property, and then watch her empire crumble under the weight of her own lies. Alex Harlan had always been the quiet type, the guy who observed more than he spoke. After blowing the whistle on a shady tech firm that was dumping waste into rivers back in Seattle, he'd been blackballed from the industry, whispers of troublemaker following him like a bad smell. So he packed up, cashed in his savings, and bought a forgotten 12-acre plot on Lake Evergreen in suburban Virginia, USA. The realtor called it a steal, untouched shoreline, old-growth trees, and a rickety dock begging for a hammock. Alex saw it as a reset button, a place where the only drama was the occasional heron diving for fish. But in Evergreen Estates, peace was just a facade for the HOA's iron fist, ruled by Patricia Patty Voss, the president who'd turned neighborhood rules into her personal vendetta machine. Patty, with her pearl necklace and perpetual smile that screamed "bless your heart," had been lording over the subdivision for 15 years. Enforcing bylaws like no visible trash cans on Tuesdays with the zeal of a traffic cop on quota. Neighbors joked she could fine you for breathing too loudly, but no one laughed too hard, cross her, and you'd find your mailbox accidentally relocated or your holiday lights deemed nonconforming. Alex unloaded his truck that first afternoon, the sun glinting off the lake like a promise. He was knee-deep in unpacking when the black Mercedes SUV purred up his gravel drive, stopping with that deliberate crunch of tires meant to announce importance. Out stepped Patty, flanked by two minions, Bob, the vice president with a comb-over that defied gravity, and Linda, the secretary whose notepad looked like a weapon. "Welcome to Evergreen," Patty chirped, her voice honey-sweet but laced with that southern edge that could cut glass. "I'm Patty Voss, HOA president. We like to greet all new residents personally." Alex straightened up, wiping sweat from his brow. "Appreciate it. But I'm not in your HOA, this lot's outside the plat." Patty's laugh tinkled like wind chimes in a storm. "Oh, honey. Everyone around here contributes to the harmony. The lake's shared. You see, we've got guidelines for docks, water usage, even boat colors, keeps things civilized." She handed him a glossy pamphlet titled Evergreen Excellence, Rules for a Better Tomorrow. Alex skimmed it, noting absurdities like no inflatables exceeding 2 feet in diameter. "Thanks. But my deed says the shoreline's private. No easements." Patty's smile didn't waver, but her eyes narrowed like a cat spotting a mouse. "Deeds can be misinterpreted. We've maintained this lake for years, algae treatments, dock repairs. It's only fair you chip in the $450 annual fee." Bob nodded vigorously. "Community spirit." Alex kept his tone even. "I'll pass. Spirit's not in my budget." As they drove off, Patty called over her shoulder, "We value cooperation here, Mr. Harlan. Isolation isn't healthy." Alex watched the dust settle, feeling the first prickle of unease. That night, as fireflies danced over the water, he sipped coffee on the dock, wondering if he'd traded corporate snakes for suburban ones. The whispers started small, like ripples on the lake. Alex woke to find a note taped to his fence, "Join or leave, HOA watches." He crumpled it, figuring it was a prank. But by midday, his phone buzzed with anonymous texts, "Lake thief," "outsider." He ignored them, focusing on staking out his boundary with string and stakes. That's when he unearthed it, a weathered concrete post half buried in the mud. Stamped USACE 1982, United States Army Corps of Engineers. Curious, Alex snapped photos and dove into online records from his laptop in the cabin. The screen's glow casting shadows on the bare walls. What he found was gold. The lake had been part of a federal flood control project in the 80s. Boundaries never redrawn after the state took over. Legally. Chunks of community dock sat on protected wetland. Interesting, Alex muttered. Printing maps. The next day, Patty's SUV returned. This time with a county inspector in tow, a nervous guy named Ted with a clipboard and a tie that screamed mid-level bureaucrat. Mr. Harlan, Patty said, her voice dripping concern. We've had reports of unauthorized digging. HOA bylaws prohibit shoreline alterations without approval. Ted nodded meekly. Could be erosion issues. Alex crossed his arms. Digging? I'm marking my own property. And speaking of approvals, your docks might need a federal once-over. Patty's eyebrows shot up. But she recovered with a chuckle. Oh. That's ancient history. We've got variances. She turned to Ted. Tell him. Ted stammered. Yeah. Looks compliant. But Alex caught the flicker in Ted's eyes, fear. As they left, Patty whispered loudly to Ted. Such a shame. Newcomers stirring trouble. That evening, Alex's email flooded with HOA newsletters blasting new resident threatens lake access, join the petition. Neighbors avoided his gaze at the local store. One muttering. Heard you're fencing off the water. Greedy much? Alex bit his tongue. But inside, gears turned. He drove to the county archives. A dusty building smelling of mildew and forgotten dreams. Rifling through yellowed files, he hit pay dirt, a 1890s deed granting riparian rights to his parcel, exclusive water control. Never revoked. Cross-referencing with federal databases. He linked it to the marker. Patty's maintenance was outright diversion, pipes siphoning water to her family's nearby vineyard. Disguised as community irrigation. Gotcha, Alex whispered. Photocopying furiously. Back home, as rain pattered on the roof, he pieced together a timeline. Patty wasn't just enforcing rules, she was profiting off stolen water. Her HOA a front for personal gain. The irony burned, the Queen of Harmony was the biggest rule breaker. Alex smiled faintly, patience was his weapon. The pressure cooker hissed louder. Vandalism hit next, red spray paint across Alex's cabin, water hog. Neighbors' cars idled outside his fence at night. Headlights glaring like accusatory eyes. Anonymous calls whispered. Sell or suffer. Alex installed cheap trail cams, capturing grainy footage of hooded figures skulking. One voice on audio, Patty said, make him uncomfortable. He reported it to the sheriff. A laid-back guy named Deputy Ruiz. Who sighed? HOA spats are common. Talk it out. But Alex pushed, this is harassment. Ruiz promised to look into it, but his tone screamed apathy. Patty escalated at the monthly HOA meeting. Live streamed on their Facebook page for transparency. Alex tuned in from his cabin. Popcorn in hand. Patty stood at the podium in the community hall. Lights harsh on her flawless makeup. Friends, she drawled. A certain newcomer is spreading vicious lies about our beloved lake. He's claiming federal markers to block your access, pure fiction. The crowd murmured approval. We've invested sweat and dollars here. He waltzes in. Demanding control? That's not American. Laughter rippled. But Alex noted cracks, a few faces looked doubtful. Post-meeting. The online petition exploded, Save Our Lake from Greedy Outsiders, with doctored photos of Alex fencing the water. His old whistleblower scandal resurfaced in comments, he's a professional agitator. Alex stayed silent publicly. but privately emailed a retired surveyor named Earl. Tipped off by archive notes. Earl. Grizzled and sharp. Met him at a diner. Sliding over a USB drive. Poured that marker myself in '82, Earl grumbled over coffee. Patty's kin pushed the county to ignore it, her uncle's on the board. She's been piping water to her vineyard for years. Calling it eco-friendly. Here's proofs, old surveys. Emails. Alex grinned. Why help? Earl shrugged. Tired of bullies in blazers. Armed. Alex contacted the EPA anonymously. Attaching files. An agent replied, intriguing. Stand by. Meanwhile, Patty knocked on his door one stormy afternoon. Umbrella in hand. Feigning concern. Alex. Darling. This feud is silly. Sign the covenant. Pay the fee, we'll forget the nonsense. Her smile was shark-like. Alex leaned on the doorframe. Nonsense like your illegal pipes? Patty's face twitched. Excuse me? The ones feeding your grapes. Federal land. Patty. That's not community spirit, that's theft. She huffed. Slander. You'll regret this. As she stormed off. Alex called after. Harmony. Right? The mics on his cams caught her muttering. Little prick thinks he's smart. Laughter bubbled in Alex's chest, dark. Satisfying. The noose tightened. The dam broke at the emergency HOA assembly. Packed into the stuffy hall under buzzing lights. Patty commanded the stage. Projector beaming slides of happy families lakeside. This intruder, she boomed. Pointing at Alex's photo. Wants to privatize our heritage. He's forged documents. Contacted feds, it's extortion. The crowd booed. But Alex. Standing in back. Raised his hand. Mind if I share facts? Patty sneered. Go ahead. Enlighten us. He plugged in his laptop. Screen flickering to life with the marker photo. This federal post on my land proves the lake's protected, your docs violate it. Murmurs. Next slide, drone shots of hidden pipes. These divert water to Patty's vineyard. HOA funds paid for them, $120K labeled maintenance. Gasps. Patty banged the podium. Lies. Fabricated. Alex clicked again, EPA email confirmation. Federal probes open. Witnesses confirm Patty buried markers to build unchecked. A board member. Sweating. Stood. Wait. Patty. Is this true? She sputtered. Of course not. He's a liar. But the room erupted, shouts of explain the money. We trusted you. Phones recorded as chaos reigned. Patty's face reddened. Veins bulging. This is my community. I built it. Alex deadpanned. With stolen water? Laughter mixed with outrage, that cough and fury moment where absurdity hit. Suddenly. Doors swung open, 2 EPA agents in suits. Patricia Voss? We have questions. Patty's confidence shattered. Eyes wide in panic. You can't, this is a meeting. The taller agent flashed a badge. It's now an interview. As they escorted her out. She hissed at Alex. You'll pay. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Then whispers turned to cheers. One neighbor clapped Alex's back, about time someone called her bluff. Outside. Under streetlights. Deputy Ruiz arrived. Nodding. Footage from your cams? Ties her to the vandalism. Alex exhaled. The tension uncoiling like a spring. Justice wasn't loud, it was inevitable. And oh. So sweet to watch her facade crack. 6 months later. The courtroom hummed with finality. Patty sat defeated. Orange jumpsuit clashing with her faded pearls. Pleading guilty to fraud, embezzlement, and intimidation. The judge's voice boomed, "You weaponized community for greed. Ms. Voss, fining neighbors while siphoning their dues to your vines. That's not leadership, that's a con in heels." She got 18 months. Restitution. And a HOA ban for life. Alex watched from the back. No gloating, just closure. The lake thrived now, new eco rules. Open budgets. A sanctuary sign where her pipes once hid. Neighbors fished freely. Waving at Alex without fear. Earl raised a beer at a barbecue, to markers that outlast morons. As sun set over rippling water. Alex reflected on the absurdity, a harmonious tyrant undone by her own rules. But was Patty the real villain? Or just a symptom of systems that let petty power fester? You tell me, in a world of overzealous HOAs. Who's truly stealing the peace, the rule makers or the rule breakers? Drop your thoughts below.